I think in general, people are pretty scared, at least SEOs are scared of AI and the implications it has for search, because you go from citing a website to just stealing information and throwing it up on there. We already know that Google's run into trouble with this before with Canadian news. Now you can't really get news on social platforms and things like that because, they're taking away traffic from news sites. And this is kind of a play on that in the sense that this is kind of information that the AI has learned and puts together into search results, but it's not really attributing it to anybody in the same way that right now, if you see information that Google has a citation for, it will be associated with a website. Now suddenly this is just like AI crowdfunded information and it's not attributed to anybody. So where's the benefit in answering questions like getting marks off of painted walls when it's not actually driving traffic to your website anymore? So it is scary from the aspect of creating content for SEO purposes, how you're going to be able to drive meaningful traffic if AI really kicks off in this way, right?
Right.
So, in a certain sense, people are bugged by the whole AI thing. Especially when ChatGPT first launched, there was a lot of chatter going on in the SEO world about what that would mean. Google wasn't really in that space. Google was starting in that space, was awkward. Microsoft is using it with Bing. And so it's kind of evolving and it's changing. But certainly now that they're continuing to experiment and showing it to real users who didn't opt in, suddenly we're thinking, okay, this could be real.
So, to my understanding, Google, for the last, as long as I can remember, they're trying to display information without the user having to make a click and actually go to a website to find information. That's going to be true of like Google Business Profile, so you don't have to go to someone's website to find their address, their phone number. And then actually in the SERP there, Google is actually answering the question or answering the query based on information that's found on one source. And then that's like the top result, and then they link to where the search engine actually found that information. So if you wanted to dive deeper, great, it's a click away. And now you're saying there won't even be a click option because it will just be an answer that is generated through Google. And it says, how do I get paint off my walls? And it's going to say, great, to get paint off the walls, you use an acetone base, whatever. It'll generate a query with zero reference back to its source material.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because there could be clicks integrated in there, but it's likely going to be, because Google wants to make money in search, it might be a pay-to-play space. And who knows how that's going to look. Right. There's been a little bit where you can see, search queries regarding this generative AI where it's recommending products. So, to some extent, there is some integration with, what it has archived for products and things like that. But you can see that suddenly you've got an explanation about why somebody should buy XYZ product, and there's your product, but you paid for it to be there. So,
right.
It's kind of an interesting future where there are a lot of unknowns. But yeah, a big concern is how this is going to look for that organic search experience.